Hey, what's up, everybody? It's David Summers. It is time for Stud Stories. We've got the stud. All we need is the story. And now the Tennessee stud, Ron Fuller. Hey, stud, what's going on?
Oh, Jace, man, looking forward to this one. We got another one of those NWA World Champions to talk about today, and this guy is a great friend and very popular wrestler too, even among the wrestlers, as a matter of fact. So, if you're ready, my man, we'll jump right into this.
Hey, I got nothing but time, and I can't wait. Tommy Rich, right?
Tommy Rich,
Oh,
that's
this is
it.
going to be a big one. Let's do it.
Yeah, so first I want to start out by welcoming back fans. And Tommy Rich is going to be the 10th NWA World Champion that I wrestled in my 18-year career, and his nickname was Wildfire. He was born in Hendersonville, which is just outside Nashville, suburb of Nashville, basically, on July 26, 1956. He wrestled as the NWA champion. He was about at the point that where he was won the title. He was in really good shape. He was 6 feet and about 235 pounds, and he was trained by several wrestlers. First of these that I'm going to mention was not just a wrestler but a promoter as well. He was trained by Jerry Jarrett, who was the promoter in Memphis and that side of Tennessee, the western side of Tennessee, I should say, and on up into Kentucky, Louisville, and Evansville, Indiana, and quite a little area that he had over there in which he operated, and obviously, and he lived actually in the same town Tommy Rich did. So he was one of Tommy's trainers. Jerry Lawler was another one of his trainers. Dick Steinborn was one of them, and a Japanese wrestler who was a true legend in Tennessee, especially on that western side of Tennessee, Tojo Yamamoto, did some training with him. So three of those trainers turned out to be famous Tennessee wrestlers, and Dick Steinborn, in my opinion, and a lot of others, was one of the best wrestlers in the history of the sport.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so Tommy had some great training, and he began his career in 1974, and he quickly became known as Wildfire because Tommy had his comebacks were like a wildfire, out of control, man. I mean, and when he started to make a comeback, wow, and the old term was, you got to have fire when you're going to make a comeback. And I don't think anybody had more fire sometimes than Tommy. And that's how he got that nickname of Wildfire. And I only worked with Tommy about 3 times during my career because I was a babyface, and same as he was most of my career. And, I think he was babyfaced almost all his career, except for maybe one turn in Memphis way back against Jerry Lawler. But we wrestled once in 1975 in Memphis when I was working over there as a heel, and I was the Southern Heavyweight Champion, and I defended the Southern Heavyweight Championship against him in Memphis. And we also worked twice in Knoxville in that same year. Again, it was for the Southern title, and I turned babyface in 1975. So it was somewhere in the first 6 months of 1975. We wrestled him probably 3 times, once in Memphis and twice in Knoxville. Tommy had a long career, man, and a very successful one, too. In fact, he won belts in 21 different wrestling companies over the years.
Wow.
I didn't even know there
Wow.
was hardly 21
Wow.
wrestling
For real.
companies. I mean, he just, and none was as important, obviously, as his win of the National Wrestling Alliance, 10 pounds of gold over Harley Race in Augusta, Georgia on April 27, 1981. And it was another one of those short switches of the title, like the one with Baba, that was being done at that time. Especially in Hardy's case. Hardy was doing quite a few of those. I guess the NWA, obviously, they were letting him do it, but that's how Hardy got to be 11 times champion, I think. It's because he switched it so many times for these short periods of time. Now, Tommy's reign was one of the shortest ever. It was only for 4 days. So he won the belt on April the 27th, and he lost it back to Harley. He won it in Augusta, Georgia, and he lost it back to Harley in Gainesville, Georgia on May the 1st,
Oh,
4 days
wow.
later,
Wow. Okay.
1981.
Yeah.
So he didn't have the NWA belt for a long time, but he was recognized as an NWA champion, and that's why I've included him in one of the champions that I have wrestled against. And actually, I've in looking at this closer, when I started this series, I thought there were only 11 guys, but it's turned out there's going to be 12 champions that I wrestled in my career. So Tommy is a number 10. And so the odd thing about many of these quick switches of the belt back in this time frame is many of them occurred in the southern NWA territories. You know, the Georgia territory had several partners during that time frame, but the most influential was the former Australian promoter, Jim Barnett. And be quite honest with you, I don't know any other way to put it, but Jim often fell in love with some of his young baby faces. And such was the case with Tommy Rich. So, you know, Jim's influence in the NWA during that time was immense. Obviously, a title change in your territory was good for business. And fans had a tendency to think if it happened once, why couldn't it happen again?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of problems for having your world champion come in is he never lost. And after a while, people go, well, he's not going to get beat.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you were able to get one of these little short title changes, even though it's a short period of time, it happened, then those fans will go ahead and start coming again because they say, well, you know what happened with Tommy Rich in 81, it might happen again tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So the Georgia territory, who was not doing really well at that point in the late 70s, Wild had a tremendous run when Watts was running it about the time that Barnett went there in 72 and 73, 74, 75. Mr. Wrestling 2 was on fire. Now Tommy Rich in 81 is on fire. And, you know, so Jim kind of needed to pop in his business in 1981, and he got it with that title change. I mean, all of a sudden, Georgia's back on fire again. So in 1982, Bob Armstrong and I went to Georgia, to that state, to wrestle, but mostly to be seen on WTBS, which was Ted Turner's satellite TV station that was seen not just all across the country on cable during that time frame, one of the first stations to ever be on cable, but it was seen around the world on cable. So while there, I worked partners with Tommy on 3 occasions, and I looked at my chart to find these matches, and we won all 3 of our tag team matches during a period of 3 months in the winter of 1982, and we won them against some pretty darn good talent. As an example, one of those matches was against Ole Anderson and Stan Hansen. So, you know, that's a great team right there. And so we were doing really well as a team. And so I didn't see much of Tommy after that until he came into my continental territory in 1985. He was there during 86, and he was there a little bit of time in 87. And during the time that he was there, he was working partners with his cousin, Johnny Rich. And wow, they had a phenomenal run during that time with the team that was called the Nightmares. They did every type of match imaginable was done by those 2 teams in that basically 2-year period of time. It was a phenomenal, all the matches that they had, and had just tremendous matches together. So, you know, not only did fans like Tommy Rich, but wrestlers liked him just as well. I mean, a lot of wrestling stars didn't get along with everybody. And there was, I guess, some jealousy or whatever it is in some guys' cases that made him not like the champion. But Tommy was a great guy, and pretty much everybody liked him. And he was a good fit in your wrestling company. And that's why I like to have him in. So, you know, he didn't work for me just during that time frame, but he came back and worked for me in USA Wrestling in 1988. So we still see each other occasionally. we go to these major signing events that happen all around the country, and I run into Tommy quite often. And wow, he's always great, fun to be around, and still got a really upbeat character, and just enjoys life. Tommy really enjoys life. He loves being alive, and and Tommy was inducted into the NWA Hall of Fame in 2008, and he was inducted into the Memphis Hall of Fame in 2021, just this last year. And he's really done well for himself in the sport. And by golly, he's earned it, man. That's all I can say is Tommy's really earned it. He was a great star wherever he went, and a great guy. So, and I think that's going to cover Tommy Rich today. But please join me again, everybody out there. The next NWA champion that I wrestle is going to be Fist of Stone, the one-man gang, Ronnie Garvin. And so we're going to get to him. He'll be the next NWA champion that I go up against. And I'm getting pretty close to the last one. So I really thank everybody for joining me for these. And hope you've enjoyed this one. And I look forward to sitting down, spending some time, and let's talking about one of the greats, Ronnie Garvin.